know, Delane, is how you got here, or when you got here,
Okay.
why you came to Portal.
Providence.
Okay.
Whenever I was going to marry Renee, I'm a second wife,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I married when I was 46,
Mm-hmm.
so that was long ago.
Yeah. A couple of years ago.
He said, "How would you like to live in Arizona?" Well, I had lived in New Mexico, where I taught in a black school in Hobbs,
Uh-huh.
and an Indian reservation, Santo Domingo.
Uh-huh.
So I knew the kind of territory, and I said, fine.
Now, wait, I want to ask you, where did you meet Renee?
In Modesto, California, I came there to teach,
Yeah.
and his daughter, Vicky, his youngest daughter, Vicky, he has three, Susan and Vicky,
Yeah.
was in split first, second grade I had.
Mm-hmm.
And so I met him as Vicky's father.
Mm-hmm.
And then many years went by, and Vicky was getting ready to go to college. And Renee's first wife, Crystal, had died.
Oh.
And we crossed paths.
Oh. So it was years later
Yes.
that you guys met.
Yeah, probably 12,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. Huh.
In the drugstore, and I was having eye surgery, cataracts, and I had a patch over my eye, and so he's wanted to know why I have the patch.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, and I also told him that a friend of mine, I had to go next day out to San Francisco for the eye doctor to check it.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine would get out of school early and take me. And he said, "Oh, well, I'm retired. I have empty time. Why don't I take you?"
Oh.
And I said, "Good." Yes, because now poor Dee won't have to get out of school early.
Yeah.
I hate to
Yeah.
impose on her like that.
Yeah.
So, you might say our first date was going to the ophthalmologist in San Francisco.
So when he said later on, how about Arizona? Had he been to Portal before, or how? Well, wait a minute. Was he talking about Portal? I guess.
No,
Okay.
we didn't know about Portal yet.
Okay.
He and his family had come to birdwatch down near Patagonia and Sonoita and that part of the world.
Yeah.
He didn't know this part.
Yeah.
And I said, fine. And so we went to hunt where would we like to live.
Yeah.
And we looked over there near Sierra Vista and kind of the area he'd been. And then we ended up in Douglas.
Uh-huh.
And we were going back to Tucson to catch the plane.
Yeah.
And I looked on the map, and he said, "Oh, here's Portal. I've heard of Portal. It's a birding place. Would you like to stop in Portal?"
Huh.
And I'm looking at all that distance, and I would have stopped anywhere. I said, "Sure."
Huh.
So we stopped in Rodeo, and
Now, what year was this? Do you remember?
1975.
Okay. Okay. 75. So you're going to Rodeo.
So we stopped in Rodeo, and you could get gas there in those days, because I think Mozzie was the one who owned the store. Oh, God, what's his first name?
So there
Lloyd.
a store and a gas station.
Yes.
Spot. Okay.
And we asked about property around here, and he said, "Oh, well, you can have the old Conoco station down there, which was defunct."
Was that at Rodeo, the Conoco station, or was that
I
down
don't
here?
even remember
Oh.
it. I just remember his saying
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Or you could have the train station, which was still there. And we said, "No, up in the mountains over here." And he said, well, see Finn Richards. And they have, he has property there, a lot of property there. And he will come down about 1 o'clock to, oh God, what is it?
Keep going, I'll check it.
To the lodge, which is where Maya lives now.
Oh,
That was a lodge.
huh. You don't remember the name of it?
I'm trying to.
Yeah, because I don't.
Cathedral Rock Lodge.
Okay.
And he'll come down about 1. Well, it was before 1. And so we come roaming up here. And just when we went past the telephone house,
Yep.
O'Leary's
Place,
house
yep.
wasn't there yet.
Okay.
We came past the telephone house. I looked down the canyon, and I just knew. I said, this is it.
Yeah.
We don't need to look anywhere else.
When you looked up there, were there any houses that you could see at that time when you looked up the canyon?
Finn's house, which
Okay.
is where Reed lives now.
Okay. So,
That's the only house. That's the only house that was there that was visible.
yeah.
Oh, Duck Russell's, the house where Linda Pretty lives.
Yeah.
That house was there, but it was kind of hidden.
Yeah. So, can you say any more about Finn Richards? Because I don't,
You don't
know anything about.
Finn has been dead a few years.
Yeah.
Yes, Finn was a local boy,
Yeah.
and so was his wife Sally.
Oh.
Their grandparents, I guess, maybe their grandparents,
Yeah.
I believe,
Yeah.
and Sally's mother. So they were homesteaders.
Oh my.
So they and in that homesteading thing,
Yeah.
some people would get tired. You had to build on your homestead
Right.
and you had to live.
Right. You had so
Some
many years.
people
To do.
would say, oh, I'm not staying here. And so their ranch was up for sale. There are, what did they get, 160 acres?
Wow.
I'm not sure,
Yeah,
but
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
that was
80
it.
or one. Yeah, but.
Well, 160, I think, is a
Yeah.
square mile.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they at least got that amount.
Huh.
And Sally's mother had one of her own, and Sally's father had one of his own.
And that was land right here in the canyon, right?
No, it was over by New Mexico.
Okay. Okay.
Sally's mother's was down near Apache,
Yeah.
and I don't know where her father's was.
Yeah.
And then Finn's family also homesteaded, and it was over there near state line,
Yeah.
on this side of the state line.
Okay, so how did what Finn was up here in the canyon though?
Yes, so then they got an extended ranch over there,
Okay.
over in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Cavalier owns it now.
Yeah. The four bar
Yes.
ranch he calls it. Yeah.
Yes, which was called something else in those days.
Yeah.
But they liked this area and they bought this area.
I see.
And they had the property from the driveway where you came in
Yeah.
all the way
Wow.
Jeannie's house. I think they owned it, Jeannie's. No, they didn't. Other people, the Greenemeyers owned that house. So anyhow, a
Yeah,
lot of
and-
property here.
Yeah, but right here in the main part
Yes.
where the view is so
Yes.
beautiful. You're talking about the history and I'm going back in my mind thinking about what you said when you came around in your first impression of the place. It was
I just knew
yeah.
this was it.
That just really struck me. Was it the beauty or just the feeling or
Well, and this was during the OPEC oil embargo.
okay. Yeah.
And so everybody was heading for the hills. And wood stoves came in.
yeah.
And gardening came in.
Yeah.
And people were trying to be self-sufficient in
Yeah.
the old style
Yeah.
because we didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And Renee had a really nice piece of property in the foothills of the Sierras. I would say about back from Sacramento. And he even had staked out where he was going to build his house. And it
Was that before he met you?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And it was in the trees. I wasn't so keen about it being in the trees. I grew up on the plains of Texas where you could see horizon to horizon.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought, that's going to be a little claustrophobic. So, anyhow, we discussed that if things got really bad, the welfare people, if they didn't get welfare anymore, they were going to head for the hills.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we would be in their line of vision. Here's a good place here. So Renee sold that place.
Okay.
And then when Finn finally came to the lodge
Yep. The day that you guys drove up here.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
at 1 o'clock,
Yeah.
all of those houses out there were like cabins
Yeah.
where Gloria lives, where Dodie owns the house that Hughes used to,
Yeah.
where there's one other house
Yeah.
there.
And they're sort of right on the creek, is that right? Or pretty close to the creek down there? Back away.
Back off the creek.
Okay.
And who else? The Top-Offs.
Yeah.
Those were cabins that people from Minnesota and places like that came in the winter time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Sally and Finn ran those.
So did you buy the property here?
Well, not yet. We
Okay.
didn't.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
So he came into the lodge and started building a fire in the fireplace because the people would gather there in the afternoon to socialize.
Oh, neat.
And it was about the layout it is now, except that front room sold Indian stuff, baskets, rugs, jewelry, and Finn and Sally would go up to the reservations and buy from those Indians themselves, so they had quality stuff.
Yeah.
So there was that in there. And anyhow, he was lighting the fire, and he wouldn't even look at us. And we were trying to talk about buying land, and he said, "No, I don't have any for sale."
Huh.
Then, as we were leaving, he said, "However, see me again in the spring. My taxes keep going up. I might be of a different mind then." So Renee wouldn't give up on it. When we got home, he said, "I'm going to write him a letter and tell him we're the right people for that place."
Mm-hmm.
So he did, and we got a letter back that we could not tell if it said yes, no, or what. So in the spring break, when Vicki came on her spring break from college,
Yeah.
we took her and we came here to show her the place.
Yeah.
And all the kids have loved it.
Yeah.
And
Do you remember where did you stay or did you come overnight and stay somewhere in the valley?
I wonder where we stayed.
Yeah.
Don't think we stayed overnight here. I think
Yeah.
we probably stayed overnight in Douglas
Uh-huh.
and then drove up here and then didn't stay at all,
Yeah.
just looked at the place.
Did you meet Finn again, and then what happened?
Yes, we had Vicky's little dog Muffet with us, and she was a little terrier thing, cute little thing. And so Muffet had to go outside while we were gathered there. And the people were gathered around the fireplace then, too. And I was sitting on a divan with my back to the front of the place, the southern part that looks out. Well, so Renee gets up to take Muffet out, and Finn follows him. And I thought, oh, are we going to get it or not? And I couldn't watch them. So Renee comes back, and he leans over and said, yes.
All right.
And so Finn said, I have 4 pieces right there. And he showed us the map.
Yeah.
And which piece do you want?
Yeah.
And we wanted this piece because it's the view you get from the road, more or less.
Yes. Which
And-
was like the view that you saw when you first came.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Huh.
so he said, I would have picked that one too.
Finn said that.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And Finn didn't sell any more property for 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
If you don't mind me asking, I'll ask it anyway. And do you remember what you paid for it? Just curious.
I believe 18,000 maybe for 5 acres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just curious. Yeah.
It might have been 18 or 15,
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of those.
Yeah. So that was 1975. Okay.
And this place had some, Renee and I had decided what we wanted in a place, a nice view.
Yeah.
And there was snow up there on that bare place underneath that rock. And there was snow up in the canyon, so we couldn't go very far.
Oh.
And snow up on the mountains.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
wanted a place that would have water.
Oh.
So the snow told us it would have water, because other places we went didn't have snow.
Yeah.
And we wanted wood, because we were going to burn wood.
Okay.
And so we saw wood.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in those days you could get it free.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and they didn't even mark it. You just went up and picked a tree you liked and cut it
Yeah.
for firewood.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it had those 3 particular places we liked. It was where the sun shone.
Yeah. And that was really important.
That was.
I mean, as I remember.